placed in such a way that the eyes of the Nandi are leveled at the Rudra Bhag. Rudra Bhag is the upper part on which the Abhishek is done, right? So you find Nandi over here.
Thank you.
And in the Gujarat and Rajasthan temples, you'll see that there are toranas which are there between the two pillars, right? So these are the ornamental arches, and it gives a lot of beauty to the temple. We'll see that in the coming slides. Now the boundary wall is optional. The temple can have boundary wall or may not have the boundary wall. So this is the basic thing. Now we'll look at the different sub schools. Now, as I said, that it is the Shikara that gives the shape of the mountain to the temple, and it's a very, very important architectural element. So let's look at the three distinct three distinct Shikaras which are prevalent in the Nagara style. Now, if you look at this particular style, as we just discussed that the Garbhagriha is normally square in shape. So this is the square shaped Garbhagriha here. This is the Pitha or the base. This is the outside wall of the temple called as Mandovar, right? And rising just above these four walls is the Shikara, which goes straight and it curves inwards as it goes up, giving it a curvilinear shape, and it gets truncated over here. It's called Skanda, that is shoulder of the Shikara, and above which this Amalaka is placed, and above that there is the Kalasha. Now you'll see some minute engravings here, and this particular Shikara is called Latina Shikara or Lat. Lat in this Nagara terminology means a creeper, right? So this is like, if you see the creepers, it gives this kind of a spidery kind of a look to the Shikara. So this is called Latina. So just see this. This is the Latina Shikara. Straight four walls going up and curving inside, giving it a curvilinear shape. Now there is another different type of a Shikara. This is called Shekhari Shikara. So Shikhar is made up of many Shikaras. So imagine the original Shikara is like this. It is Latina. This is the Latina Shikara here. But on the Latina Shikara, there are half Shikaras attached to the main Shikara. So forget about this three. Just focus on this, right? So if this is the main Shikara, which is like this, the body is like this, you'll have half Shikara attached to the body of the main Shikara. Now there is another Shikara which is half the size of this Shikara, which is again attached to the body of this Shikara. So these are Uru Shringas. Uru means the chest. They are clinging to the chest of the original Shikara. So you'll see this is attached to this Shikara. This is attached to this Shikara. So these are called Uru Shringas. Same thing is on the other side. So all the four sides have subsidiary Shikaras attached to the main Shikara, giving it this kind of a scallop look. Now, these are the half Shikaras. Then there are quarter Shikaras. If you see this, they are mimicking the shape of the main Shikara. So you can see they are mimicking the same shape is there, but they vary in size. Now these are called Shringas. They are the quarter Shikaras. They are placed horizontally at the base of the Shikara. So this is the outer wall of the Garbhagruha. It is called Mandovar. This is the Garbhagruha. Outside wall is this. And this is the Kapota or the Chhajja or the roof. And this is where the Shikara starts. So you can see this miniature Shikaras are all clubbed horizontally and they go vertically as well. So these are Shringas, these are Uru Shringas. And above this, there's a Amlaka and Kalasha. And because it is a living temple, you'll see the Dvaja Danda. This is Dvaja Danda and this is Dvaja. Dvaja is very auspicious. We'll look at it tomorrow in details. Now, you'll see this temple belongs to Lord Shiva. So you'll have the Trishul and a Damru over here. And on this Dvaja, you will have again Trishul Damru and Nandi is depicted. This is Somnath temple. It has got Shekhari Shikhara. Now we have one more. There's one more. Sorry, just one. Just one moment, please.
Recording in progress.
I'm sorry. So now there's another important Shikhara which is called Bhumija Shikhara. Now, if you look at this, this is a basic four walls of the Shikhara, but over here, the Shikhara is made up of small Shikharas. So these are the small Shikharas which are placed horizontally and vertically. They go vertically also and across they go horizontally. They create a grid, like a grid kind of a structure. So this is called Bhumija Shikhara. So this is the outer wall of the Garbhagriha. This is the Chajja or Kapota, and above that the Shikharas, miniature Shikharas are placed one above another. So this is Bhumija Shikhara. Then we also have a Shikhara called as Famsana Shikhara or Fasana. Okay, now in this it is broad based starting here and in shorter in height as compared to the other three Shikharas we saw, and the roof is made of several slabs that gently rise in smaller slabs to a single point over the center of the temple, making a pyramidal shape. So this kind of a shikharas are found on the mandapas. They are not found on the main temple. So this is Fasana or Famsana Shikhara. Now there's one more Shikhara which is called as Vallabhi, which is wagon vaulted style. So if you look at this temple, the Shikhara is the wagon vaulted style Shikhara, rectangular building. It is made on, wherever the Garbhagriha is rectangular in shape, you have this kind of a Shikhara, which is Valbi, it's called as Valbi. And if you see this shape, this edge of the vaulted chamber is round. It is mimicking the shape of the bamboo wooden wagons that would have been drawn by the bullocks in the ancient times. So you can see the shape they are mimicking over here. So this is the way they look. And this is Telika Mandir in Gwalior, which has the wagon vaulted Shikhara. Now let's talk about the Chandela style. You have seen the different Shikharas. Now let's talk about the sub-school of Nagara style, which is the Chandela style. And Chandelas ruled over the central India from 9th century CE to the 13th century CE. And they are the ones who have created the magnificent Khajuraho group of temples, right? So what is the speciality of this temple? That they have Mukha Mandapa, that is the entry point, Mandapa, Maha Mandapa, and the Garbhagriha. Garbhagriha is usually square in shape. All the mandapas are connected to each other through antrala. Both the exterior and the interior of the temple is highly ornamented. It is made up of sandstone, as it is amply available in the locality. They are mostly east facing, and some of them are also north facing. And the speciality of this temple of Chandela style is they have very high jagati. They are placed on a very high platform, right? And these mandapas have shikharas, which is very different to the Solanki style. Let's see how. So these are the prime examples of the Chandela style. So you will see that they're highly ornamental. This is Lakshmana temple. This is a Jain temple, and this is the Vishwanath temple. So you'll see the mandapas you enter from here, connected to Antral, one more mandapa, then Maha Mandapa connected to the Garbhagriha. And every mandapa has its own shikhara. So let's look at it from the example of Khandaria Mahadev temple. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is based in MP. It was built by the Chandela King Vidyadhar I in the 11th century CE. This is a Sandhar Prasad. Yesterday we saw what are the different kinds of prasad. So one of the prasad was Sandhar Prasad. Sandhar means there is a pradakshina path given around the Garbhagriha to do the parikrama. Now this temple is built to mimic either Mount Kailash or Mount Meru, which is considered to be the center of the universe. So wherever the temple is built, it is always considered that temple is at the center of the universe, right? So because they are trying to mimic Mount Meru. Now, if you see, look at this picture, you'll see this Jagati is 4 meters high. So one of the specialities, very high Jagati. You climb the steps of the Jagati, then you come to the platform. So the platform provides the space to the parikrama from outside. Now, as you see, you climb the steps or the Sopan Marga, and these are the Toranas. See, this is a Torana, which you find mostly in Nagra style. This is the Elika Torana, which is shaped like a caterpillar. You enter through this mandapa. These are the balconies which are constructed for the devotees to sit and chant or take rest. So this is the entry point. This is Mukha Mandapa. Now above the Mukha Mandapa, you will see a shorter shikhara. This shikhara has Amlaka and Karasha. From Mukha Mandapa, you enter into the Mandapa. Again, there is a balcony. The balconies allow the light and air ventilation. So, and also the sitting arrangement. So balconies are here. This the Mandapa again has a shikhara with the Amlak and Kadasha, which is then in turn attached to the Mahamandapa.